In the soft morning light, deep within the ancient forest, Adesuwa moved like a whisper. Barefoot, silent, with her bow held steady, she was one with the rustling leaves and the singing birds. She waited, her senses sharp, her breath controlled. Then, with a fluid motion, she released an arrow. It found its mark, and a deer fell gracefully to the forest floor. Kneeling beside it, she touched the earth and whispered a prayer of gratitude. "Ancestors, thank you." The forest had provided. As she made her way back along a winding path, a sudden, sharp snap echoed through the trees, followed by a man's cry of pain. She found him instantly, a young man, Ehas, caught in a crude metal snare, his face etched with agony. Adesuwa appeared from the shadows, her eyes alert. "Don't move," she commanded softly. With practiced hands, she carefully worked the trap, freeing his leg. She then gathered specific leaves, crushing them into a poultice and applying it to the bleeding wound. "You saved me," Ehas breathed, looking at her with awe. Adesuwa met his gaze, her expression unreadable. "The forest only takes those who disrespect it," she replied. In that long shared look, something unspoken passed between them. Later, at the bustling village market, Adesuwa sold the meat from her hunt. Murmurs and whispers followed her. "A woman who hunts, a woman who walks the path of men." From a distance, Ehas watched her, a gentle smile playing on his lips, his admiration clear. He found her later by the riverbank, as the sun began to set. "Since that day in the forest," he confessed, his voice earnest, "my heart has followed you." Adesuwa offered a sad smile. "My path is not an easy one for others to walk beside me." That night, the warmth of the family fire did little to calm the tension in Ehas's home. He told his parents he wanted to marry Adesuwa. His father erupted in anger. "A hunter's wife, she will bring disgrace upon our name." His mother pleaded, "The king's own daughter is your destiny, my son. Think of our family's honor." But Ehas was resolute, his voice firm. "I choose love." Meanwhile, within the palace walls, a different conversation was taking place. The king's daughter Adesuwa laughed, a cruel, sharp sound. "Ehas will marry me," she declared to her handmaidens. "He has no choice in the matter." The next day, her words turned to action. She confronted Adesuwa in the middle of the village square, her voice dripping with scorn for all to hear. "A woman who spends her days chasing animals should not concern herself with chasing men." Humiliation washed over Adesuwa, but she stood tall, her dignity a shield against the venomous words. Later, her own mother held her close, offering comfort. "Do not worry, my child. Your character will always speak louder than their gossip." Then terror struck the village. A monstrous beast, larger and fiercer than any seen before, descended upon the farmlands, destroying crops and scattering livestock. The village warriors, brave men who had faced many threats, ran in fear. The king, his face grim, stood before his people and cried out, "Who will save us from this destruction?" Silence was his only answer. But Adesuwa was already preparing. In the quiet of her hut, she painted ancient symbols of strength and courage on her arm. She took up her bow and ventured back into the wild, tracking the beast through the ravaged fields and into the deep woods. The battle that followed was fierce and desperate. Adesuwa was swift and clever, using the forest she knew so well to her advantage. With a final, perfectly aimed shot, the great beast roared one last time and fell silent. The village square erupted in cheers as the defeated beast was displayed. The king stepped forward, his voice booming with respect. "This woman," he declared, pointing to Adesuwa, "has saved us all." He then turned a disappointed gaze upon his own daughter, Isat. "You possess beauty, my daughter, but you have no humility, no courage." Shamed before the entire village, Adesuwa turned and fled from the square. The next morning brought a sight no one expected. Ehis's parents, once so proud and dismissive, knelt before Adesuwa's home. "Forgive our blindness," his father said, his voice thick with remorse. "You are the heart of this village." And so the village square was transformed once more. This time it was filled with the vibrant colors, joyous drumming, and graceful dancing of a traditional wedding. Esis gently tied the ceremonial cloth around Adesuwa's wrist, sealing their union. Beside them, Adesuwa placed her bow on the ground. It was not a surrender, but a choice. She had earned her peace, her respect, and her love. But as she and Ehis smiled at each other, their future stretched before them, a path they would now walk together, honored and celebrated by all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.